A man accidentally drops a Rolex watch worth hundreds of thousands of dollars into the sea. When he dives deep into the ocean to find the watch, he sees something he never expected to find. Underwater, he discovers a strange, heavy stone. He is not an ordinary man but an experienced treasure hunter. At a single glance, he recognizes it. It is a ballast stone that was used in ancient ships. The moment he realizes this, he quickly comes back to the surface and tells his 3 companions on the boat the big news. The 4 of them do not waste a single moment. They grab whatever they can find, mops, brooms, and anything else available, and dive back into the depths of the sea. After a short while, Nick feels something hard. He slowly pulls it out, and the very next moment, everyone is left speechless. It was not an ordinary object but a centuries-old golden dagger. Seeing such a rare discovery, it becomes clear that the treasure in this location is going to be extremely special. The sight immediately brings smiles to their faces, and they cannot stop laughing with excitement. Now all they have to do is find the treasure hidden deep beneath the sea. If they could find it, their lives could change forever. To speed up the search, all 4 of them immediately go to the market and purchase a large amount of underwater detection equipment. After that, they return to the same area of the sea. Now, fully prepared, it was time to begin the search properly. First, they mark a large area using ropes. Then they begin carefully scanning the seabed with metal detectors. After a short while, the detector starts beeping. Realizing that something large may be buried beneath them, Nick signals his companions to use a blower machine to remove the sand. As soon as the sand is blown away, everyone's eyes widen. A thick, heavy iron chain appears underneath. Nick immediately realizes that something very large must be buried beneath it. He instantly tells his companions to increase the power of the blower. The sand begins flying away on both sides, and slowly, the huge structure hidden beneath it comes into view. It was not an ordinary object at all, but a centuries-old Italian cannon. To bring such a massive historical artifact to the surface, they immediately attach ropes to both sides of the cannon. Then they begin filling the airbags with air. As 2 of them pull with all their strength, the enormous cannon slowly begins rising through the water. But suddenly Lisa, who is keeping watch on the boat, hears a loud alarm. She becomes frightened. In reality, the Coast Guard has arrived for a routine inspection. The moment they hear the news, the 3 men deep underwater are terrified. They know very well that if the cannon is brought onto the boat, the entire treasure hidden beneath the sea could be exposed, and everything could then fall into the hands of government agencies. Now, the issue was no longer just about the treasure. It had become a race against time and fate. If they made even the slightest mistake at that moment, they might not get their hands on anything. To get out of this situation, Nick immediately signals Anton to release some air so that the cannon can remain stable in the water. But Anton accidentally releases all the air from the airbag at once. The very next moment, the several thousand-kilogram iron cannon loses control and begins sinking straight into the depths of the sea. Amid the chaos, Anton's hand gets caught in the rope, and he is dragged downward along with the cannon. When the cannon hits the seabed, fate plays an even more brutal trick. The cannon lands directly on Anton's hand, trapping it beneath its enormous weight. The situation becomes even worse. The 3 of them are almost out of oxygen. Desperate, they begin taking turns using whatever oxygen remains. Realizing how serious the situation has become, Nick and his girlfriend immediately begin trying to save Anton. But the cannon is so heavy that even after using all their strength, they cannot move it even an inch. Nick realizes that if they do not do something drastic now, they will all die right there. Finally, he decides to risk everything. He removes his own oxygen tank and uses all the remaining air to fill the airbag. Then he and his girlfriend put every last bit of strength into the effort. Fortunately, luck is on their side. The cannon rises a few inches, creating just enough space to free Anton's trapped hand. The 3 of them somehow manage to reach the surface of the water. But by then, the Coast Guard boat has already left. Even after this life-threatening accident, they refuse to give up because the ancient cannon they discovered deep beneath the sea is a clear indication that something much bigger is still hidden down there. There is now no doubt in their minds. A sunken ship filled with treasure must be somewhere in this area of the sea. The very next day they expand their search area even further. They decide that they will recover every valuable ancient object hidden beneath the depths of the ocean. But while searching, they notice something strange. Metal debris is scattered everywhere. They follow the trail of debris and shortly afterward, they spot a waterlogged airplane. Nick cannot believe his eyes. He immediately returns to the surface and tells his companions about it. All of them dive back down and begin examining the aircraft. But the moment they enter the plane, everyone is shocked. The interior is filled with white sacks that look like they are packed with flour. It does not take them long to understand the truth. This was not an ordinary aircraft. It was a smuggler's plane carrying illegal drugs. Apparently, after some kind of accident, the plane had crashed into this very area of the sea. The moment Nick realizes what they have discovered, he becomes frightened and furious. Anton, on the other hand, is extremely happy. He even starts talking about taking one of the packages and selling it. Nick immediately refuses. He tells him that if the police discover this, they could spend the rest of their lives in prison. He says that he wants nothing to do with such dirty money. With that, Nick pulls out his knife and cuts open the white sacks. Without thinking twice, Nick throws all of the white material into the sea. After returning home, Nick's girlfriend, Sam, suggests that they should inform the police, but the other companions immediately oppose the idea. Their fear is obvious. If the police find out about the discovery, the entire area of the sea could be sealed off, and the billions worth of treasure hidden beneath the water could be lost to them forever. Just then, one of the companions comes up with a suggestion. They should recover the treasure first and then inform the police about the plane. Everyone thinks it is a good idea and agrees to it, but Lisa has something completely different going on in her mind. The next day, while everyone else is busy searching for the treasure, Lisa quietly makes her way to the wreckage of the plane, intending to steal a few packages and sell them. But luck is not on her side. The moment she enters the plane, her oxygen tank gets stuck in the wreckage. Meanwhile, when Lisa does not show up for a long time, Nick begins to suspect that something has gone wrong. Without wasting any time, he takes an extra oxygen cylinder and dives straight into the sea. He realizes that Lisa must be trapped inside the wreckage of the plane. Nick does not think twice and immediately enters the wreckage. Luckily, he finds Lisa trapped inside. Because he reaches her in time, Lisa's life is saved. After that, everyone returns home and begins going through old documents and books. And that is when a shocking truth comes to light. All of these ancient objects they had discovered in the sea were possibly connected to the ship of a wealthy French merchant from around 300 years ago. The books clearly stated that, in order to protect his wealth from a war, the merchant had loaded a fortune worth hundreds of millions onto a ship. The name of that ship was West Wind, and it was supposed to carry the treasure back to France. But the ship's bad luck did not end there. According to the books, pirates attacked the ship along the way. After a fierce battle, the famous merchant and his ship, West Wind, sank forever into the depths of this very sea. The moment they read this, everyone's face lights up with happiness. They decide that the next day they will return to the same area of the sea and this time recover the entire treasure and make it their own. But they had no idea that, in the meantime, Anton and one of his companions were about to take the wrong path. Under the cover of darkness, they secretly take a boat to the wreckage of the plane and steal several packages of narcotics. The very next day they go to sell them to the local mafia. But what happened next was something they could never have imagined. The entire shipment actually belonged to the same gang that had already lost it. And just like that, Anton and his companion fall directly into the hands of the mafia. A short while later, Nick receives a message asking for help. Meanwhile, the mafia boss gives them a clear ultimatum. Within 12 hours, they must recover all the narcotics lying in the sea and bring them back to shore, or their two friends will not survive. The situation leaves Nick with no choice. For the sake of his friends' lives, he has to agree. But Nick's girlfriend does not want to become part of this dirty business, so she removes herself from the mission. Forced by the circumstances, the three men dive back into the depths of the sea to recover the shipment. But once again, fate changes the entire situation. During the search, they suddenly come across a massive sunken ship. One of the companions looks closely and notices the name of the ship, West Wind. All three of them are left speechless. This was the ship, the legendary treasure ship that had disappeared hundreds of years ago while carrying one of the greatest treasures in the world. At that moment, fear, greed, and happiness all rise within them at the same time, because now the treasure was no longer just a story, it was right in front of their eyes. But despite having such an enormous fortune directly in front of them, the three of them do not dare touch it, because at that moment their goal was not the treasure. Their goal was to complete the final order given by the mafia. Thousands of kilograms of narcotics were still lying inside the wreckage of the plane, and they had to get it out at any cost. If they failed, the mafia would not spare any of them. They had just started working when they had absolutely no idea that a shark was constantly watching them. And then, in the very next moment, disaster strikes. The shark attacks Lisa, leaving her body severely injured. The situation quickly spirals out of control. They are forced to cut the rope, and without wasting any time, Lisa is taken to the hospital. But once again, fate proves to be merciless. Lisa does not survive her injury. The moment Sam hears the news, she rushes over. Now, she is ready to fight one final battle alongside her boyfriend. But there is very little time left. The delivery deadline has arrived and the mafia surrounds them. Seeing that the situation is completely out of control, Nick makes a major decision. He tells his companions to take Sam and get away. He will stay behind and hold them off. To save his own life, Nick plays one final card in front of the mafia. He tells them about the treasure. He says that the treasure lying beneath the sea is worth hundreds of times more than the narcotics. He promises to reveal its location without asking for any money. All they have to do is spare his life and the lives of his people. The moment the mafia hears this, their expressions change. The greed in their eyes becomes obvious. But then, when one of the mafia's men takes Nick to his boss's yard, the scene there leaves everyone stunned. The entire yard is in complete chaos. It looks as if a massacre has already taken place. Everything had completely changed. Inside the yard, the mafia boss had already been shot dead. Before his man could understand what was happening, a hidden shooter takes him down as well. The truth was that the news about the narcotics had already been leaked. Because of this, the mafia boss's biggest enemy, Bates, had arrived to take control of the shipment. Seeing the opportunity, Nick runs for his life and jumps straight into the open sea. The moment he enters the water, he swims like a fish. Within moments, he manages to escape them. But as soon as he reaches the shore, his phone rings. It is Bates on the other end. His girlfriend is in Bates's custody. With no other choice, Nick is forced to take Bates and his men to the location of the plane crash. But Nick had already made a plan. He had hidden his companions inside the cockpit of the plane. The moment they get the opportunity, they launch a surprise attack and take down Bates's men. Realizing the danger, Bates turns around and reaches for his gun. But by then, Nick is already pointing a gas cylinder directly at him. The next moment, a massive explosion occurs. Bates and the entire wreckage of the plane are reduced to ashes in the blink of an eye. And with that, all their troubles finally come to an end. Sometime later, they return to recover the old cannon that is still lying beneath the sea. Everything is going perfectly. But suddenly the rope breaks. The massive cannon falls straight down and, by a strange twist of fate, crashes into the structure of the sunken ship, breaking it apart. From inside, countless gold bars begin shining brightly. The moment they see this, all the companions jump into the sea and witness the treasure becoming a reality with their own eyes. Finally, thanks to this unexpected fortune, they completely change their destiny. They rise to the heights of success and wealth. And with that, this film comes to an end.